We welcome you all today. I'd like to open the service with the following words. May we be like Albert Schweitzer on a boat in the Agawa River in Gabon, in West Central Africa. May our uncertainty open our eyes to see a group of hippos, or a sunset, or a newborn, or anything else that evokes such awe that we finally understand reverence for life. And now, our opening hymn this morning is For All That Is Our Life, and is 128 in the UU hymnal. It's arranged by Shauna Pickett Gordon and sung by the MP UUC Choir, Tom Devine, and Linda Grace Frost. So please, rise in body and or spirit and add your voice, or just listen to this beautiful hymn, For All That Is Our Life.
Now, please join us in reading these words by the Reverend Kirk, Loadman-Copeland. This moment, these people, this chalice, this match, this flame. Let this flame that dances in front of our eyes inspire awe, inspire reverence, inspire gratitude. Blessed be. Now Laurel will welcome us and lead us in sharing our joys and concerns.
Thank you, Bill. Welcome, everybody. We are so pleased you are all here today. I'm Laurel Frischman, and I will be your worship associate for today's UUCC service. We are happy to welcome back Reverend Kirk Loadman-Copeland to the UUCC pulpit. His talk is entitled Arise, Sweet Earth, where he'll offer some important insights about our seventh UU principle that honors and respects our earth. And after the service today, I hope you will stay with us on Zoom to join our usual small random breakout rooms that give us a chance to discuss thoughts from today's service. In a moment, we'll play a video where we'll invite you to share your joys and concerns. While the video is playing, please feel free to share your joys and concerns using the chat window and to read what is shared there by others. And just to remind you for upcoming services, if you have any joys or concerns that you specifically would like the worship associate to read aloud, we would be more than happy to do so. Please email us prior to the service.
One of the ways we create our beloved community is by sharing our own joys and our concerns with one another and finding support from our community. At this time, we invite you to click the chat button at the bottom middle of your Zoom window. That brings up a window in which you can type any joys or concerns. As you do so, we will hear Vera Vandershock play La Grima by Francisco Tarrega. In these times of reflection and renewal, let us remember that it remains important to reach out to one another when we feel the need, and to accept being reached out to. May we find comfort in knowing that we can share our joys and our concerns here among us.
We feel the relief for those Haitian refugees who no longer dwell under the bridge at the Del Rio, Texas border, and who are continuing on their quest for a better life in the U.S. Much hope is in our hearts that our elected officials in Washington will come together on the infrastructure bill, which will provide the much-needed rebuilding of our nation's footing to the betterment of all of us in our daily lives. May we hold with love and care the joys and concerns that have been shared publicly today, as well as those that remain unspoken in the recesses of our hearts. Before I introduce our guest speaker, Bill has a reading for us.
In 1981, Yoko Ono published Season of Glass, a studio album, her first solo work after the murder of her husband, John Lennon. These words appear on the album's back cover. Spring passes and one remembers one's innocence. Summer passes and one remembers one's exuberance. Autumn passes and one remembers reverence. Winter passes and one remembers one's perseverance. And now Laurel will introduce our guest speaker.
It is with great pleasure that I introduce our worship leader today, Reverend Kirk Loadman-Copeland. Reverend Kirk, now retired from ministry, founded the Touchstones Project in 2012. He works with a small UU fellowship located in the Colorado mountains. During his ministry, he served as the full-time settled minister in 2 congregations in Pittsburgh and Denver, while providing extensive part-time consultation to 4 small congregations. Welcome, Reverend Kirk.
I'm happy to be back in the UUCC pulpit and see some familiar faces. The theme for this month is reverence. Of all the themes I have worked on, I think that this one is especially important because I doubt that we would be fully human without it. To feel reverence, which comes to us involuntarily, is to find ourselves uplifted, to experience the wind beneath our wings. If we are to better learn or relearn reverence, we must turn to the earth. She is a master teacher with lessons both subtle and extreme. And if we are to grow in reverence, we must practice reverence each day. Reverence for ourselves, reverence for one another, and reverence for all creation. The wonders of childhood are deeply connected to reverence. And those elders who have learned how much there is to cherish are wise to remain open to reverence until the end. Bad things happen, but so do good things, extraordinary things, grace-filled things. And while we like to be in control, and are fairly good at doing so, we can lose control. Often this loss of control is unexpected and unbidden. And sometimes loss of control is a very good thing. A smile forms beyond our awareness. A tear gathers in the corner of our eye and rolls gently down our face, and we hardly notice until we taste the salt tear as it touches our lips. Or perhaps it is a gasp as we mouth a kind of half-formed wow. Our throat tightens, our heart beats faster, and we are moved. The feelings that arise can vary, but reverence is often won as we experience awe or wonder. We may also experience gratitude for the source of reverence. The causes of reverence are many. The 10,000 things, dawn or sunset, a nighttime sky studded with stars that Van Gogh saw, the face of a newborn, a rushing mountain stream filled with snowmelt, a field of sunflowers or autumn aspens, the silence of snow, honking geese overhead, a full moon hanging so low you can almost touch it, violets along the woodland path, sea lions basking on rocks just offshore, and more. What is your personal catalog of experiences, of moments gathered over a lifetime? We have been schooled in reverence, perhaps without fully appreciating it. Walt Whitman had it exactly right when he wrote, "There was a child went forth every day, and the first object she looked upon and received with wonder or pity or love or dread, that object she became. And that object became part of her for the day or a certain part of the day, or for many years or stretching cycles of years. The early lilacs became part of this child, and grass, and white and red morning glories, and white and red clover, and the song of the phoebe bird. These wonders became part of her, him, me, you, us, for stretching cycles of years. There are a number of things that distinguish us from other species. It is not our vaunted opposable thumb, since that is shared with other primates. But the power of our grip and the dexterity of our hands are notable. Walking solely upright, which frees our hands, and our mastery of fire are both significant. Our capacity for complex speech and thought, including complex reasoning, our ability to solve difficult problems and introspection, as well as our range of emotions, are powerful attributes. Finally, our long childhoods are required in part because of the size of our brains and the time it takes for them to develop. But that time of growing and learning is invaluable, including absorbing culture and mores, as well as the accumulation of experiences. These experiences cannot be underestimated. They bend us in one way or another, and that bending, like the bending of the moral arc of the universe, is one of the things that contribute to our formation. We are shaped by so many things, including the seasons. As Yoko Ono wrote and Bill read, spring passes and one remembers one's innocence. Summer passes and one remembers one's exuberance. Autumn passes and one remembers one's reverence. Winter passes and one remembers one's perseverance. Good qualities. One predominates in each season of our life, and it is not insignificant that she includes reverence. I wonder if it is the capacity for reverence that actually makes us human and keeps us human. And along with perseverance, let's all of us hold on to reverence until the end. Reverence needs to flow in all directions. As inherent worth and dignity counsels, we should, no, we must have reverence for ourselves. This is a birthright, fair acknowledgement of the fact that we are alive. Whitman almost got it right when he wrote, "Why, who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know of nothing else but miracles." And he saw miracles everywhere. The sky, beach, water, trees, friends, strangers, honeybees, animals in the field, birds and insects, the sunset, stars, the new moon, and all the rest. Was singer-songwriter Peter Mayer channeling Whitman when he wrote, "Everything is holy now," or "This is our prayer, that we may always find the heaven we seek here at our feet, here in this sunrise, in this heartbeat." Whitman almost got it right, except he never declared himself a miracle, which of course he was. There are different definitions of reverence, but one of the most insightful and eloquent is captured in our first source. Direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder, affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. Those experiences that evoke reverence in us are precious. They often move us beyond ourselves, out of ourselves, that we might come in contact with the mystery of life, the beauty of life, and quite frankly, the point of life. While not synonyms with reverence, there are two other words that refer to concepts central to reverence. And the first is the Indian word, namaste, which is said when greeting someone or saying goodbye, using the Anjali Mudra gesture, where the hands are placed in a prayer position in front of the sternum and the head is slightly bowed. There are many translations of this word, but a common one is the divine light in me bows to the divine light within you. The other word is Ubuntu. It's from Africa and is often translated as I am because you are. You are because I am, which is to say we exist together or not at all. It is chilling to consider, but are we slowly moving to not at all, given our propensity for inhumanity? Not everyone needs to become inhuman. Just enough people to take us past the tipping point. The farmer and poet Wendell Berry wrote, "We must abandon arrogance and stand in awe." And the truth is, though we forget it too much of the time, we owe each other a fierce loyalty. If we do not stand in awe of each other, if we choose to stand apart, we will perish. To know the rest of the story, we need to keep Barry's words intact. He actually said, we must abandon arrogance and stand in awe. We must recover the sense of the majesty of creation and the ability to be worshipful in its presence. For I do not doubt, he continued, that it is only on the condition of humility and reverence before the world that our species will be able to remain in it. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old, and approximately 400 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or even a few tens of thousands of years ago, we entered into what some are calling the Anthropocene event. While this doesn't even rate as a nanosecond in terms of geological time, it is significant nonetheless, because it is characterized by human activity that has included mass extinctions, habitat destruction, wide-scale natural resource extraction, carbon dioxide emissions, ocean acidification, plastic pollution, soil erosion, desert certification, global warming, and more. It is, in fact, late in this Anthropocene event, given the amount of destruction, but it is not too late. We all need a new vision of the earth. In his poem, Auguries of Innocence, William Blake famously said, "To see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower, hold affinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour." May such vision enlighten us and prompt us to action. Let us turn from arrogance to humility and reverence. Let us in this autumn and winter, as Yoko Ono counseled, remember reverence and perseverance. Let us extend our understanding of Ubuntu to include the earth, since we are, because she is. And let our mantra become Namaste, as the divine in us reawakens to the divine in the earth, our mother. It is late, but not too late. So let our benediction be wow, as we allow our blue boat to take us home.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my darling heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
It is always so nice to hear such beautiful music. And yes, and thank you, Reverend Kirk, for reminding us how important it is to revere our mother planet. The earth has given us so much. She has been overly generous to us humans, and now it is time to be generous to her. There are many ways to show your love and reverence for our earth. One might donate their treasures to groups which defend our earth's resources, or use one's valuable vote towards protection of the earth. One might join a march to raise their voice in earth's defense, or one might just walk along her beautiful shores and pick up human debris so she does not choke. Maybe think about doing all of these to make a positive difference every day. And as we practice our generosity to UUCC today, we thank you for giving in whatever ways feel the most impactful to you. Your generosity is appreciated, be it in a monetary capacity or with your talents and time. Please follow the instructions for donations in the order of service. As your generous spirit moves you today, please feel free to contribute what you can to UUCC, either by check or online. The instructions for giving are also in the chat. While these collections take place, let's take a few moments to hear our UUCC hymn called We of the Coastside, with lyrics by Bill Hevlin, music by Tom Devine, and the voices from the UUCC choir.
We of the coastside, we care for our neighbors, seek for more justice and sing for more peace, open in heart and bringing more love for all. We of the coastside, we care for our neighbors, seek for more justice and sing for more peace, seek for more justice and sing for more peace, open in heart and sing for more love for all. Justice and sing for more peace, seek for more justice and sing for more peace, open in heart and sing for love for all.
And now for some announcements. We thank UU San Mateo for their invaluable administrative and professional support. We want to acknowledge the continued support of the UU community of Lake County during our shelter-in-place times. Regular attendance on Zoom from UUCLC helps bolster morale of our production team as our hard work is appreciated by a larger audience. Thank you. Reverend Clovis A. Lewis Jr. presents a sermon at UU Community of Lake County on Sunday, October 10th, entitled Who Took My God?, in which Clovis explores the boundaries between science and religion. His talk examines the role of religion and spirituality with a distinctly modern position. UUCC's next Sunday service on October 24th will be curated by Bruce Raffnell and will be screening a TED Talk presentation in honor of LGBTQ History Month. The talk is entitled Homosexuality, It's About Survival, Not Sex, by James O'Keefe, MD. This presentation is one of several events arranged in collaboration with Coast Pride. Please check your order of service for a link of all the activities Coast Pride has scheduled for LGBTQ History Month. We also invite you to an open house on Monday, October 18th, where UUCC will participate in an interfaith welcome at the Coast Pride Center, located at 711 Main Street in Half Moon Bay. UUCC will be joined by other LGBTQ welcoming faiths, such as Holy Family Episcopal, Coastside Lutheran, Coastside Jewish Community, and others. Snacks and activities will be part of the open house celebration, and we hope to see you all there. And now, Bill will guide us in extinguishing the chalice.
We now extinguish our candle flames. Please join us in reading these words by Elizabeth Sally Jones. We extinguish these flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And I close with these words. To those who gathered here, seeking the holy, may the holy go with you and in you. To those who gathered here, seeking to embrace life, may life return your affection. To those who gathered here, seeking a better way, may you find that way and the patience and the courage to take it step by step. To those who gathered here seeking a better world, may we make it so by the loving work of our hands and our heart. And now our closing hymn this morning, For the Earth Forever Turning, which is number 163 in the UU hymnal, arranged by Shauna Pickett-Gordon and sung by the MPUUC choir with Tom Devine and Linda Grace Frost. So, please rise in body and or spirit and add your voice, or just listen to this beautiful hymn, For the Earth Forever Turning.
Thanks to everyone who contributed to this wonderful, enlightening, and thought-provoking service today. Thank you, Reverend Kirk, for your inspirational words and lessons for life on this earth. We also want to acknowledge our First Sunday production team, Chalice Lighter Bill Hevlin, Artistic Director Noreen Cooper-Hevlin, and our Session Management Engineer and Video Editor, Bruce Raffnell. We made a revisit to the UUCC Music Archives with 3 beautiful songs by Shauna Pickett-Gordon and the MPUUC Choir. We also want to acknowledge our talented music director, Tom Devine, and the UUCC Choir singing We of the Coastside. And thanks to Vera Vandershock for her gorgeous classical guitar pieces played during gathering and joys and concerns. And a thank you to all of you for participating in this timely service. Immediately following the service, Bill will create some of our little breakout rooms for us, which will serve as a safe place to talk openly and honestly about today's topic or anything else that might be on our minds. We hope you'll all join us in these breakout rooms. Please keep in mind that what is said here stays here, but thoughts and concepts we learn and are inspired by can most definitely be shared. Of course, please be thoughtful of the time so that anyone who wishes to speak has the opportunity to do so. Here are some discussion points to consider. What has elicited reverence in you? What was the experience like? Given our first principle of the inherent worth and dignity of every person, why do we struggle to regard so many others with reverence? What can be done about this? Have we failed Earth through insufficient reverence? What can we do about this? In just a few moments, Bill will give everybody permission to unmute themselves. And please have a very safe and happy week.